Good morning, everyone. I am Sarah Simon. I'm coming to you from a very dreary and rainy Appleton, Wisconsin. I'm a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator, which means I love to share my love of stamping with you. Looks like we've got quite a few people. And Kelly, oh my goodness, I'm so happy that you are joining me this morning. All right, I am looking like I'm staying live on my YouTube, and my Facebook is freezing up. So I hope that if you are freezing up, try to run over to YouTube, because I think I'm just fine. I'm finding that people that are watching on iPads sometimes are freezing up, and I'm watching on my iPad on Facebook, but I'm watching on my computer on YouTube, and I'm doing just fine. Oh, Sandy, it's icy by you. I have not been out yet. When I got up at 5:15 this morning and took Lila out, she did not want to be outside because it was raining, but I don't think ours is ice, but I haven't been out yet. I'm going to be venturing out as soon as I'm done with here, because I have all of today's prizes, all the envelopes all ready to go, so I just have to push them in there. I have last week prizes all packaged up, and they are ready to go. And Sandy, I have your card club stuff all packaged up and ready to go along with your order. So I'm going to be getting all of that to the post office later. So I really hope that the roads aren't icy so that I can get there. Oh goodness, we had lots of people jumping on. Looks like we've got Linda, Tammy, Mark, good morning. Sarah, good morning. Karen Karst, good morning. Aunt Mary, good morning. And it looks like we've got about 5 people watching on YouTube. Well, one of them is me. So about 4 people watching on YouTube. So welcome to all of you as well. It looks like Karen's on YouTube, and Mary's on YouTube, and Betty's on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching. And good morning, Kay. I am going to be using the Waves of Inspiration. I can actually put my little thing on here, this Waves of the Ocean bundle. So the stamp set is called Waves of Inspirations. We're going to be using the stamp set. We're going to be using a few of these dies. I didn't use the wave die in my cards. I was going to, and then I decided on doing something else. I'm going to admit this week was a little spinning, and I think I'm back live. Sorry about that. I think I have too much going on here today. I probably shouldn't have pulled all these things up. But I was saying that it seems like the weeks just are so busy. And I have to get ready for my stamp club, which is this weekend before I leave for Florida. And so yesterday I got off the phone with my mom, because they're in Florida already. And I said to her, I have to go and I have to design my 2 cards yet. And I went in there and I started messing around, and nothing was really coming to me. And I was just really tired. I was just exhausted because I had stayed up late all week trying to get all the cards done for my stamp club, and I decided I'm not creative right now because I'm tired. I just need to go to bed. And if I go to bed and get some sleep and wake up really early in the morning, I think I'll have more creativity, and that worked. So going to bed sometimes is the best thing you can do for yourselves. And so I created the cards this morning. I started at 5:15 I got up, and yeah, I'm excited to be with you today. So we have to award some prizes. So we have, I'm going to get my keyboard out of here. We have for commenting last week. So if anytime you comment, and a lot of you have commented already. Hey, good morning, Mom. I see that you are on here too. And Donna, oh gosh, lots of people are jumping on. Awesome. If you make a comment and just even tell me where you're from, or say hello, good morning, like some of you are doing, you get entered into a drawing to win the cards that I am making today. You will get into a drawing. Won't be next week, but it'll be in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So receiving the card. So we made this card last week, this happy birthday. We're going to use this exact same layout today with a different card, so you can see it made in a different way. And then we also made this one, which was a little sneak peek into that bundle. We'll be using that bundle a little bit more today. So receiving these for making a comment last week is Diane Hermson. So Diane, I will get these in the mail to you. I actually have the envelope done. I just have to pop them inside afterwards. And then for sharing, so if you hit the share button on Facebook, I can't tell who has shared on YouTube, so you would almost have to go to Facebook and do the sharing there. But anytime you share, make sure you put in the comments that you share, because sometimes it'll say 18 people shared, and when I look at who those people are, there's like 4 of them there. So then I have to go into the comments and look to see who else commented that they shared. Because for some reason, I think it might be in your setting that you have on your Facebook page, it just doesn't give me that information. So for sharing last week and receiving a pack of this marvelous or simply marvelous designer series paper, which was a celebration item which you can no longer get, is Mary King. So Mary, I believe you are from Indiana. If I remember, I did the envelope yesterday, so I will get that in the mail. It's all ready to go. And then for placing an order, that's how I stay in business, is from all of you who place orders, and I'm very, very blessed to have some very dedicated customers. And receiving this stamp set, which was also a celebration item that you can no longer get, Friendly Hello, is Kim Metalman. So Kim, I did not make an envelope for yours. I'm going to just sneak it by your house and hang it on your door, because you don't live that far from me, and it just be a lot easier than having to go through the post office. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. We are going to start stamping, and we're going to make 2 cards today again, and both of them are going to, in some way, use that Waves of Inspiration. In one of them, I use just that stamp set along with the paper, and in another one, I use a different stamp set along with some of the specialty paper, and so that you can see how you can mix and match some of it with some of the things that you might already have in your stamping studio. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera. And as always, I'm going to get my overhead light turned off so that you don't, my video keeps saying that it's getting interrupted. Ugh, I don't know if it's the rain or what it is, but it looks like I am freezing up. Okay, I think I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and just keep going, and hopefully you can stick with me or watch the replay if that's the case. So we are going to use that exact same, this was a card that we did last week with the flower patch. I just showed you that one. We are going to remake this using the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. Oh, look at that stamp set. So we're going to use this little pelican. We're going to use this big stamp right here. We're going to use the happy birthday, and we're going to use one of the label dies and then the die to cut this out. And then they have some bird dies that we're going to use as well. So let me go ahead and grab, these are our layers. So the colors on here are the one for my flower patch. I didn't rewrite the whole thing over again because Pacific Point paper, and this measures 5.5 by 8.5, and I've already scored it at 4 1/4. Okay, and that's going to be our card base. Instead of this just jade that I ran through the embossing folder last time, instead we're going to use some of the designer series paper. Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? I think I'm going to post on my Facebook page. Stampin' Up! Made a video on how this paper was designed and how they made it with like some like watercoloring and different techniques of painting, that they make a picture of it, and then, or they actually make it and then they take a picture of it, and that's what makes the designer series paper. So I'll post that maybe later today. So this is measuring 2 1/8 by 5 1/4, and that's going to be that piece that sits in the back like we did last week with the Just Jade. Then where I had this Magenta Madness, I am using some Coastal Cabana this week, and we have the 3 pieces that measure 3 3/8 by 1 3/8 that we're going to be using as a kind of like a background. We do not have this piece. Instead, I have a piece. Oh, look at this. This is, and I don't know if you can tell, look at that metallic paper. Yeah, you can kind of see the light shine off of that. This is metallic paper, and this measures 3.5 inches, and I cut it just by 1/4 inch. Okay, we're going to be using that instead of ribbon today. I have my basic white. This one measures 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. All right, and then we have our inside that measures 5 1/4 by 4 that we're going to be using. Okay, I also cut a little scrap of the designer series paper that we're going to put on the inside, and I think I did it this way. Yes, let me look. I did it just this morning, so I should know. Oh yeah, it's going to go this way. So this is 5 1/4 by 1/2 inch. Okay, and I think I'm freezing up again, and I don't on YouTube, but ladies, if you make a comment, I'm not going to see it because I'm going to close my internet on my that and see if that helps a little bit with not freezing up. I maybe just have too many things open is what I'm guessing. Okay, let's see. I have my envelope and I have a piece of the designer series paper to go on that later. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus because this works wonders when you want to put a couple of different colors onto a stamp and you want to make sure that you stamp it in the same spot. And also for a really big stamp like this, sometimes you don't get full coverage the first time that you stamp it. And so if you don't get that full coverage and then you go back and you want to stamp it again, it's in the exact same spot. So I am going to set this, and I have to remember where I put it. I think I did it right there. Just going to kind of dry fit it to make sure. I think that's right where I had it. Okay, and I am going to be using some Coastal Cabana ink. Just want to make sure I have this. Here we go. And I'm going to actually put my magnet there. All right, I'm going to use some Coastal Cabana ink. And I'm going to ink this up really good. And then I'm going to go ahead and give it a close and make sure that I press it enough so that the ink transfers. And look at that wave. Is that not beautiful? But just wait. We are going to add some more to that. We are going to take some of our Pacific Point ink, and what I'm going to do is just take a sponge dauber, and I'm going to add some of that along the sides and kind of in different areas. I don't want to put as much, I don't want to put all of it Pacific Point, so I just want to add a few little areas of Pacific Point and close it again. Oh, can you see the difference in that? Can you see that little bit of blue that's in there, the darker blue that's in there with the lighter blue? That is going to be the image that we are going to cut apart today. So I'm going to close my ink pads here. I know I have to open them up in a little bit. Actually, why don't we keep the one open and let's go ahead and do our stamping. So on here, I am going to take out that pelican that's standing on like a wooden post. And I'm going to stamp that in soft suede. And it's okay that I got this because I'm going to cut it out. I don't know if you can see I have a little bit of a halo there. I'm going to be cutting that out so it doesn't matter. And I'm going to stamp my greeting. I'm going to do it sideways. And I'm going to do that in Pacific Point. And then I'm going to take the inside of my card. And it's going to be a happy birthday. And on the inside, I'm just going to say that you are so totally awesome. All right, so I am done with all of my stamping. So I'm going to close up my ink pads, put them back in my bucket so that I do not lose them. And then we have dies. Dies in a little bag here, so I didn't lose them. We have a die that will cut that out. See how that's going to work? And we have this label die that also comes with this set, and we're going to cut that out. And through the magic of TV, I have the happy birthday done, and I have our little pelican done. The other thing that I did was I took some of that metallic paper that I showed you, that we cut that little strip, and I put some of our adhesive strips behind it so that it would make it sticky, and I ran it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I got these birds, and I didn't even take them out of the die. They kind of stayed in the die because of that extra adhesive backing that I have on there. But we're going to use those little birds as well. Oh, I just loved some of the dies that are in here, are just so pretty. So I'm going to put this stuff back, and I'm actually going to put these back in my bag because I'm going to cut those out later and I'll use them on another card. All right, I need to get my paper trimmer because we need to cut this apart, just like we did last week where we cut that garden path into 3 parts. We are going to cut this into 3 equal parts. So I'm going to cut these each at 1 1/4. So I'm just showing you another way to use that layout on a different card. Okay, so I have my 3 parts of my wave. Put my trimmer away, and we are ready to put this card together. So I am going to layer those onto these 3 Coastal Cabana layers that I have. Okay, so this was the furthest one over, then I had this one, and then that one is the end. So I'm just trying to keep them in order so that I don't mix them up because I still want it to look like a wave when I put it on my card. Sometimes it's nice to see more than one card so that you can see. And when we do our card challenges, that's what I love about the card challenges, is that I give you that same card that we did last week, but instead of embossing a piece in the back, I'm using some designer series paper. I could have used designer series paper on the front and cut it apart too, but I really wanted to try that wave. I did it as one of the cards for my club as well. They're going to be using that wave, and it's just so much fun to do that. All right, we're going to put these on there. We're going to put that on there. We have a little strip of the designer series paper to bring to the inside of our card. Look at the back of that even. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm just in love with this paper. I just think it is so beautiful. You don't have to do a whole lot of stamping and other things with it because it is so pretty. See, I'm a little bit short there. Remember how I said I like to cut them a little bit longer because I can always cut off? There I'm just a tad bit short, but I'm okay with that. All right, our card base. I'm going to take my bone folder and just give that a good burnish. And this is going to go, make sure I have it the right way. This is going to go on the front. I haven't really been watching comments, so hopefully the white strip I just cut. Okay, the white strip that I just cut, Julie, it was 3 3/4 inches wide, and it was 3 1/4 inches long, and then I cut it into 1 1/4 inch pieces. Put that there. We'll put this on the inside right away. Thanks for asking those questions. I'll try to keep watching, but sometimes I get so... Kathy Miller, you are in Florida. Yay! How many more hours? 6 more hours to the Keys. Oh, Florida is such a long state. Enjoy the drive. Enjoy the view. Hopefully you have beautiful weather as you're doing your driving. Kathy's my friend, and she is on her way to Florida as well. So That's going to go on there just like we did last week. And we're going to put those on with some dimensionals. Some of you know Kathy because you probably watch her Facebook Lives as well. I know I even catch her Facebook Lives because I learned so much from her. She's such a wonderful stamper. And I'm down to the edges here of my dimensionals. That means I get to get a new sheet pretty soon, but I like to use all of these up before I do that. Oops, I don't have these cut. My voice for some reason today is just like, oh, doesn't sound the same. It sounds like I have a cold, but I really don't. All right, we're going to flip these back over, make sure we got them the right way. And I started on either end. So I'm going to open up my trash can that's to the side here so I can get these dimensional backs right in there. Okay, so I'm going to go on that end. I'm going to line this up so I know where the top and the bottom is. And then I'm going to try to leave the same amount of space on the other end. So I'm kind of looking at that, leaving the same amount of space, lining up the top and the bottom, and then now this middle one, I can center between those two. You could also start with the center one if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. And you can put these as close together or as far apart as you want, but we still have that wave. Okay, here's our little pelican, and he's just going to stand on the side here. He's going to hang off a little bit, so I just want to put my glue on the very far left-hand side of that because he's just going to be hanging off the edge of that a little bit. Don't need a whole lot of glue. I think I'm going to have him go all the way down to the bottom there. Oh, he's so cute. And then I've got these birds. And again, because I put that adhesive sheet on the back, I'm going to go ahead and peel that off. Oh, I almost dropped it. And I'm going to put one of those on there. And we will put one of them over here, and I'm even going to hang it off that a little bit. So fun. And then we have this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little strip that I had, and I'm going to weave it through the back, and then have it come up through the front. Just like that, and try to even it out so that there's an even amount on either end. You have to pull it this way a little bit. That looks pretty even. And then I don't think it's going anywhere because it's pretty snug, but I took a piece of tape and I just taped right in the middle there just to make sure that it was held in place. And I'm going to put that down right at the bottom of the wave so that I can see that happy birthday. I'm going to get me some little dimensionals. I'm just kind of looking to see. So I'm going to put one right by the A. I want to make sure that it's going to be on here and not in between the two pieces. That's all I was doing, was trying to line that up. There we go. I don't know where that little flower came from. And there is our finished card. And I think I'm frozen. I think I'm back. I'm sorry, ladies. I don't know why I'm freezing up. Like I said, I don't know if it's the rain. I turned off my YouTube, so I'm not watching YouTube. But there is the finished card. Thank you so much for all the hearts. Maybe I'm not freezing on your end, but on my iPad, I am freezing. So I'm going to keep going. I'm actually going to add a little bit of that designer series paper to the envelope. To have it tie in, and looks so pretty on the outside as it is on the inside. So that's that paper that's there. Different parts, depending on where you are on the designer series paper, can look a little bit different because each piece is the same, but like each 4-inch strip can look completely different. It can have different colors and everything. So at the top of this designer series paper, let me show you what the top looked like. So I cut this off on the bottom end. Let me grab the paper and I'll show you what it looked like on the top. It's dark in here because there's no sun today. I gotta find one here. Let me grab a piece that I haven't cut up. I just want to show you how different each one of the pieces looks because you would have never guessed maybe that I took it from this sheet of designer series paper. I cut out the bottom part. Where is the piece? Here it is. Okay, so this is what that paper looks like. So I cut just this portion right here, but look at the other end. It's got all of these pinks and corals in it. So it almost looked like this is where the beach and the water kind of meet. It's kind of really, really unique. But I just cut this portion out on the end. So you would have probably never guessed that this color was in the designer series paper from my card because I just focused on this end of the paper. It's kind of cool. All right, that is card number 1. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to take the bin and put it on my floor right next to me and slide over my next bin to make my next bin. And for that one, we are going to combine our Ocean of Waves paper with this Seize the Day stamp set along with the dies. Oh, I just love these dies, and I hope that you are going to love this card. I had fun making it this morning. So we are going to start with Granny Apple Green, believe it or not. I decided to use this part of the designer series paper and look at the greens and the blues in there. And I decided to take out the green in this one instead of the blue because I felt like I had made too many cards. This was my 4th card using this stamp set. And I wanted to do something different because all of the other cards were blue. So I decided to pull out that green, that Granny Apple Green that was in that paper. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. Then I had used the lighter blue in the last card. This one I'm going to use this shinier, like almost like a Pacific Point blue. It kind of matches the blue that we see over in the corner there. And this measures the same, 4 by 5 1/4. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to use this really big die that is with that Seize the Day. Look at this. We're going to take this and run it through our cut and emboss machine. And when you do that, through the magic of TV, this is what you get. I'm going to get this out of the way. So that we're going to layer on top of that paper. See how the die and the paper do all the work? I really didn't have to do a whole lot to make that look pretty fabulous. Okay, and then if you put that onto the green on top of it, oh, that is just like, I didn't do hardly anything here. I cut some paper, I ran it through our little machine, and it did the rest. So we are going to build a little underwater scene on this card. And so I have this blue foils, I have the designer series paper, I have a little piece for the inside that measures 1/2 by 5 1/4, and I have an inside piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. Now this stamp set I thought could be great for kids cards, it could be good for masculine cards, it could be good for almost anything. And that's why when I see a stamp set like that, You know, I gravitate, as a woman, I gravitate towards all of the flowers. I think all the flowers are so pretty, and I want to get every stamp set that has flowers because they're so gorgeous. And then sometimes I forget that who I'm making cards for aren't always women. I mean, I make a lot of cards for women because I think they appreciate them sometimes more than men, that you've made them. But I always try to think of what other sets would I have for either kids or for men. All right, we're going to have a scrap of white, and we're going to pull in some of those underwater elements. I'm going to set this aside for now. We do have to stamp on that inside a little bit. But we're going to pull in some of those underwater elements. So there are a couple of fish in this background. I'm sorry about that. I just put a piece of paper in there so that the ink can catch it. But we have a fish that goes in each direction. All right, we have a little jellyfish that we're going to use. That's kind of cute. These are the little bubbles coming out of the fish underwater. And we're going to use this little starfish. Okay, those are the ones that I picked. There's also an octopus. There is a crab. There are a lot of other little animals that you could use. And I also wanted to use this greeting that says, wishing you oceans of happiness. But we're going to use that on our designer series paper. So let's take these right here and let's go ahead and stamp them. I'm going to stamp the jellyfish and flirty flamingo to just give a little bit more color to this card than just the colors that are on the DSP, the designer series paper. Oh, that's so pretty. All right, that's the only thing I'm going to do in the flirty flamingo. And then I am going to take some Sahara sand, and I'm going to do that starfish in the Sahara sand. Lovely. And then, oh, my favorite in color that's going to be going out color. This is going to be retiring, ladies, unless they do some sort of a color refresh, but Misty Moonlight. It is my new favorite blue. Night of Navy was my blue always, and now I've come to really, really love Misty Moonlight. So we're going to do a couple of those fish. All right, while I have the Misty Moonlight out, let me just tell you what I'm going to do with this. We are going to take the dies that go along with these, and we are going to cut them out. So I've got a jellyfish die. Look at that. I've got a starfish. I've got the two fish going in each direction. And through the magic of TV, you know it, I have that done. Okay, and I've got one more fish here. I'm going to put the dies away because I do not want to lose those. They're really, really tiny, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to leave them sitting in a bucket or they're going to end up somewhere and I'm not going to be able to find them. So those are cut out and they're right here. Next, I'm going to take the inside of my card and I'm going to stamp the little fish that goes in this direction down in the corner. And along with that, I'm going to stamp some little bubbles coming from him. I'm going to stand up to do that so I can see it a little bit better. Isn't that cute? And we're going to put that little designer paper along this side so that we can bring that color in as well. All right, now I didn't put this ink pad away. I used this as a guide so I could tell kind of where the center was. And I'm going to take that wishing you oceans of happiness and ink that up good. And where it's a little bit lighter in here, I'm going to stamp right on the designer series paper. Sometimes I forget that we can do that. You can stamp right on the designer series paper rather than having to stamp on a label or stamp on anything else. Okay, so right in the center of that, it says wishing you oceans of happiness. Then I'm going to sort of place where I want my fish to be. I think I'm going to put one up here somewhere. I have that greeting up a little bit higher than I did on my sample, so I'm going to maybe have to move where I put some things. So I'm going to put that jellyfish there. I'm going to put the See how I'm like kind of weaving it in between that background, that starfish there. And I'm going to put this fish here. And I think I am going to keep that fish up there. Maybe I'll bring it over here more. Yeah, maybe I'll bring it there. Okay, the reason I wanted to do this, I'm going to remove this now. I kind of have this in place. I wanted to tell where I'm going to stamp some bubbles because I wanted to stamp some of those bubbles on here. So I wanted to sort of see where my fish were. And I'm going to stamp them right onto that designer series paper. So fun. Now I have an idea where I wanted my fish to go when I go to put this back together. And I am done with stamping, so I'm going to put my ink away. I'm going to put my stamps away. And we are going to assemble this card. All right, so we had our inside. I'm going to set this over here for now so I don't lose that. I'm going to just add a little bit of glue to this strip. And set that along the side. And notice I didn't put a greeting on this on the inside. I just stamped that little fish. I mentioned this last week. I'm doing this more and more because sometimes oceans of happiness is something that you could use for anything. So wishing you oceans of happiness as you start a new job. It could be wishing you oceans of happiness as you are, it's on your birthday, or it could be anything. So that's why I thought I'm just going to leave it blank. And then when I go to use the card, I could put an inside greeting in if I want, or I can just write on it. And what I write on it will just tell me what the oceans of happiness is for. That makes sense. All right, I'm just going to slide that on the inside here. Oh, that little fish is so cute. All right, and then I am going to set this down with regular liquid glue. Tammy, yeah, I think you got this stamp set. It's going to be so fun to use. It is a blast. Okay, so I'm going to put that down with regular liquid glue. I'm going to bring in my dimensionals, and I am going to put dimensionals on the back of each of my little critters here that I'm putting under the sea. Sea creatures. And I'm kind of being careful with this jellyfish because I do want it to be able to, like the end part of it, I want it to be able to mix in between some of those things that are supposed to be like seaweed and stuff. And then, here's my big one. Like I had a whole thing of them. We're gonna do that and that. Sometimes it helps to have these ones that you have to cut apart because they fit perfect when you've got a big die like this and you want to do like a big region. I can cut and put that all right there on the side. I'm leaving the inside open without any dimensionals because I want to be able to, just like with the little creatures, I want to be able to weave them in between things. And if there's a dimensional in the way, they won't be able to do that. Oops. So I've got quite a few dimensionals on here. I know this is going to stay in place. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off. Again, I'm sorry I'm not doing this on camera. I'm putting them right into my garbage can that's off to the side of me. I have one of those slide-in garbage cans, which is wonderful. All right, I think I have all the backs off. And I'm just going to stand up so I can look over the top of this and line up that with the designer series paper. Oh, isn't that fun? And now we know where these go because we put those little bubbles in. And then we had our starfish that we put down here. See how I kind of put it in between some of those things? And then our jellyfish, which is a little bit longer. is going to go right in there. I'm going to have to try to figure out what's going on next week. Actually, I have 2 weeks because I'll be gone next week. And then our inside, we can add a greeting. Wishing you oceans of happiness. So fun. Could go to a child, it could go to a man, it could go to a woman as well, but just so fun. You could also take a little bit of Wink of Stella and add it to your jellyfish and let that shine a little bit. Oh, that's so pretty. You could do it to your fish if you wanted to. I don't know if you can see that Wink of Stella on there. It's so hard to see on the camera, but just a fun card. Different colors. Not your same under the ocean water colors. All right, so we used the paper here. Didn't use any of the stamp set from the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. Paired it with the Seize the Day stamp set. Here we have the Waves of the Ocean, nice masculine birthday card. I think I saw somebody say it was a masculine card. I do have, let me make my envelope here. I always forget that. Are you guys yelling at me going, aren't you going to do something to your envelope? Nobody ever puts a comment in, and then all of a sudden I see my paper sitting there and I'm like, oh shoot, I have to do my envelope. All right, so notice how this one is a lot darker. I tried to take something a little bit lighter so that I could stamp on for part of the paper. This is the same paper, just a different part of it. Again, I'll try to post the video that Stampin' Up! Made of them video so that it wasn't like you had to sit and watch all of it, but it was time-lapsed. So there we've got that. Let's put even a little fish in the corner. Let's do the one going this way. And those little bubbles I just love. There we go. Isn't that a fun envelope now to go with our card? Okay, so that one goes with this one, and this one goes with that. So a different way to combine that paper with a different stamp set instead of just the Waves of Ocean stamp set. So if you have this one, this would be a great complement to that stamp set. Just a reminder that the stamp set and the dies are going to be in the new catalog in May. This paper is not. And so if you really think this paper is cool and you want to get your hands on it, I would order it while it is still in stock because I have a feeling this is going to go fast because there are lots of samples on the internet. There are cards all over the place. And just like we did last week, you don't even have to have the stamp set to be able to make a card. We made one last week with just using some of that beautiful paper. All right, so I am not going to be here next week. Oh, look at how dark I am here now. I turned my overhead light off so you don't have shadows and I just have a light. I can probably shine this on me a little bit more. There we go. I will not be here next Saturday. I take off on Friday for Florida to spend a week with my parents. I am coming back Friday night the week after. I get in at like 9:30 at night. My plan is to try to have my cards made for my Facebook Live for in 2 weeks on Saturday. I'm already have an Easter card that's planned, and I just have to do one more. So I plan to be here in 2 weeks if everything goes okay with my flights, and if I decide to come home, I might just decide to stay in Florida. But that is my plan right now, that I will be live again in 2 weeks. I will not be doing a video. I do not want to promise that I'm going to have a video that I post next week Saturday because that puts way too much pressure on me. If I find that I have time during the week, which I have Stamp Club on Monday and I have Stamp Club virtual on Tuesday, and I have a dinner that I have to go to on Wednesday, and then I'm going to be doing my last minute packing on Thursday because we leave early Friday morning, I'm not going to promise a video. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope to bring some Florida sunshine back with me when I'm back in 2 weeks. And I hope that whatever you have on your schedule for today and for the weekend, that you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for taking time to watch me today. I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.